Hey guys, and Kalispera from Thessaloniki, Greece. Today I'll be flying all the way to Dusseldorf on board a Sundair flight that is operated by Fly Air41, which is a small Croatian charter airline in an Airbus A320 aircraft. I do hope and also think that this may become a really interesting flight, so thank you guys for coming along to today's trip report, and let's head right inside the terminal building in order to check in, as online check-in wasn't possible. Cheers! Thessaloniki Airport is the third largest airport in the country and was opened back in 1930. It is located in the southeast of Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city in Greece, and Aegean Airlines Olympic Air, as well as Europe's greatest airline of all times, Ryanair, are currently using this airport as a hub. By the way, if you are traveling on a budget like me and do not want to pay for a taxi ride, you can easily get here from the city center with the local bus line X1 within more or less half an hour for just €2. Today I will be on board Sundair flight SR4167 to Dusseldorf, which is leaving at 8:10 p.m. and the check-in should be located at counters 15, 16 and 17. As it is currently not possible to check in online for Sundair flights, we actually need to proceed to the check-in counter, which feels a bit old school, to be honest. Apart from the large check-in area, the terminal offers a few ticket offices, shops, bistros and also a small cheap supermarket downstairs. Alright guys, this was probably the worst check-in experience I ever had, and I already had quite some, as you probably know. But why? Well, it turned out that I was not on the passenger list for today's Sundair flight to Dusseldorf, so the check-in agents had to call the airline, so Sundair, in order to confirm that I am on the flight and I'm not lying to them and just, want to get a free flight for me. And the entire process took like more or less 60 minutes. Luckily, I arrived quite early at Thessaloniki Airport today, which is normally not the case, as you probably also know. And well, who knows, maybe if I would have arrived like 60 minutes before departure at the airport, maybe I would not be able to board the flight. I mean, I booked the flight like 2 days ago and I was not the only passenger with this problem. There were like 10 people or something, and the check-in agents also said that this is quite common on Sundair flights. But anyway, the check-in staff itself was really kind and also helpful, I have to say. Doing a decent job, so let's head right through the security control in order to get to today's gate. A huge walk-through duty-free shop offering a wide variety of different perfumes, cosmetics, cigarettes, but also alcohol is located right behind the security control. Talking about the security control, that was a really stressful experience actually. The staff was like hectic and seemed to be stressed and everything and was like panicking. And I quite not understand why, because, well, it wasn't too crowded. Like, I was not the only passenger around, but yeah, it wasn't too crowded to say so. Airside, you can also find a Burger King and further restaurants. Seating possibilities are offered as well, however, these benches do not feature any power outlets. There are just a few power outlets spread over the whole terminal and some USB chargers at Burger King. My flight is leaving from gate 4 and the boarding process should start anytime soon. Alright, my flight will be delayed by more or less 1 hour, which is not too bad for me as I don't have any appointments or anything in Dusseldorf. However, it's still unfortunate, Anyway, I also just found out the reason for the delay, as the aircraft had a delay on its last flight yesterday from Beirut to Dusseldorf. So they were not allowed to land in Dusseldorf anymore because it was already too late. So they had to divert to Münster-Osnabrück, which is actually my home base. And then they had a positioning flight this morning to Dusseldorf, which caused this whole delay today. Well, nice to know, right?
Sundair flight number 4167 to Dusseldorf. Please proceed immediately at gate number 4.
Well, that was close. The boarding process went quite fast today, and they already
called my name now, so I'm like literally the last one to join, and now finally on my way to the bus. That was really close.
Today's Airbus A320 was produced in Toulouse and delivered to TAM Linas Aéreas in July 2009. It is active for Sundair since October 2021 as 9er Alpha-India Romeo Mike and is equipped with 180 seats in a 3-3 full economy configuration. Alright guys, I finally settled in at my seat 6A, and so far the cabin looks pretty decent and seems to be in a good condition. So let's take a first quick look around my seat. First things first, the legroom is honestly kind of limited and I can only fit a few fingers between my knees and the front seat as there is no storage compartment. The seat itself is equipped with a foldable table that is also horizontally extendable, and right above you can find a magazine compartment including a safety card, a sick bag, and finally Sundair's Onboard magazine, which we will be checking out later on. The view outside for my seat 6A is really good, and I can even see the engine blades. Finally, let's take a quick look through today's Airbus A320 cabin. I would just like to add that I found some long black hairs on the seat right next to me, and furthermore there were some tissues and chewing gums laying on the floor. So it seems that there was no cleaning during the turnaround time here in Thessaloniki.
Herzlich willkommen auf Bord. Auf Ihrem Sonderflug, durchgeführt von FlyAir41. Unser Flug nach Düsseldorf wird 2 Stunden 25 Minuten betragen. Wir bedauern unsere Verspätung durch die verspätete Ankunft dieser Maschine entstanden ist.
Well, I already have to point out that today's crew is simply lovely. They are not native German speakers, as you can clearly hear, but they speak a very good German in my eyes, and also English, of course, which I actually not expected, as I saw that this flight is being operated by a Croatian airline. However, we are now about to line up the runway, so the flaps are already set for takeoff, so it's also time to double check that. There we go. So it's also now, of course, time for me to double check that my seatbelt is securely fastened. Cabin is secure as well. So let's hope that we will have a nice departure from Thessaloniki with some good views over the city.
With our buy on board service. On today's flight you have an opportunity to purchase cold and hot beverages, sweet and savory snacks, sandwiches, as well as a variety of hot meals. Please note that we accept payments in cash only. Thank you.
As we just arrived on our final cruising altitude of 37,000 feet, let's take a closer look at the content of the magazine compartment. So firstly, here is the plain white sick bag. Next comes the safety card of today's Airbus A320 aircraft. And finally, let's browse through Sundair's Onboard magazine. It is actually designed quite nice in my eyes and also features some information about Sundair's flight network and fleet on the last pages. But enough on that, let's take a closer look at the cabin interior itself. The seat can be reclined backward by a few degrees by a button on the armrest, and the front seat is actually equipped with a coat hook, which I really appreciate. I must point out, however, that the reclining buttons on the other seats in my row were broken, and I would have liked to see the holes to be at least temporarily fixed with duct tape. Anyway, the passenger service unit above my head features both fresh air nozzles and reading lights. The seat itself is also quite comfortable and even has these white headrest covers with the Sundair logo on it, which I quite like as well. I don't know if you can see that very well here, but my window is a bit dirty outside compared to other windows in other rows.
Jetzt haben wir nur noch schönes Wetter zu erwarten. Bleiben wir für die Zeit, jetzt gleich noch knapp eine gute Stunde. Jetzt sind wir gleich an Salzburg vorbei. Und dann Richtung Nürnberg-Kurs und dann über Köln und Düsseldorf. Und Düsseldorf meldet jetzt schon noch 24 Grad, wolkenfrei, auch noch recht schönes Wetter.
Alright, the onboard service started about 1 hour into the flight and I decided to go for a beer, a Warsteiner Premium Lager beer. To be somewhat more precisely, it's pretty well known in Germany, however not my favorite kind of beer, but anyway, Sundair does also offer some hot meals and also cold sandwiches. However, as I had tons of gyros pita today in Greece, back in Thessaloniki, I will not eat anything on this flight as I'm still insanely full. So, cheers on today's lovely crew. Well, that stuff is warm. Seems like this aircraft is not equipped with a chiller and the back galley and the aft galley. Wow. That's really, really warm.
As we should be about to start with our descent into Dusseldorf Airport, I would say that it is now time to take a quick glimpse at the lavatory. Admittedly, the sink needs a deep cleaning and the shelf on the right can no longer be closed properly. However, the water runs for a pretty long time and a soap dispenser is available as well. An infant changing table is located just above the toilet, and there is also a coat hook on the wall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have started our descent into Dusseldorf. Please make sure that your hand luggage is properly stowed and your seatbelt is securely fastened. Place the seat back in the fully upright position and fold down your armrest. Fold away your tray tables and open the window blinds. Please now stow all larger electronic devices, and from now the use of a lavatory is no longer allowed. Please study the safety card in your seat pocket, which contains useful safety information. In an emergency, personal belongings must be left behind. Thank you. Welcome to Dusseldorf Airport. Please keep your seatbelt fastened until the fastened seatbelt sign has been switched off. Your electronic devices may be used without flight safe mode. However, big electronic devices should remain safely stowed away. Use caution when opening overhead bins, as heavy items may fall out. Before leaving the airplane, make sure you have taken all your personal belongings with you. Once again, we apologize for our late arrival and hope that it won't cause you any further inconvenience. On behalf of Sundair and today's FlyAir41 crew, we wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you and goodbye.
Dankeschön, war schön mit euch.
Ladies and gents, welcome to Dusseldorf International Airport, which is like, some sort of my home base. Well, actually it's Münster and Vienna, but Dusseldorf is number 3. Anyway, I'm kind of in a hurry now, as there is a regional train back home to Münster leaving in a couple of minutes, like 15-ish or 20-ish. So I'll now try to get the very next Sky train in order to still, somehow catch the train. However, let's go for the final question. How was today's flight?
I must admit that I actually liked the flight despite many negative points. For me, Sundair is simply a very likable airline, and the crew in particular did a fantastic job today. To be honest, they even managed to make me feel like I was back in the days when I was a flight attendant. And believe me, I really haven't had that feeling very often on flights in the recent years. Furthermore, I only paid 40 euros for this flight, including one cabin bag, which is simply a great price. Especially when you consider that I only booked this flight 2 days before departure. However, Sundair urgently needs to fix the problems mentioned in the video for my unreserved recommendation. But now I would like to thank you for watching this video until the end. Have a great day, stay safe, and cheers!